Hey everybody, welcome to the Snapcast 12 Decks of Christmas. I'm Jerry with my second deck here. My deck is Storm, Legacy Storm to be specific. Oops, made a little error here. Don't worry about it. We'll fix it in a minute. It says 59 cards, but it's 60. I already know what the 60th is. So the objective of Storm in Legacy is to play an unfair game of Magic where you win in one turn. You do nothing until you do everything. The two spells that win the game are your Empty the Warrens, as such here. Be 4 mana, you get 2/1/1 Goblins, Storm, you get to copy it for each spell you cast this turn. So ideally, if you cast 9 spells, you get 20 Goblins. So that's that one, and Tendrils of Agony is our primary win condition, where instead of Goblins, you get to drain, and 9 spells before this is loss of 20 life. So knowing that you only can have a 7-card hand, what are you supposed to do? How are we supposed to generate the ability to cast 10 spells in a turn when we've only got 7 cards in hand at any given time? Well, what we have here is we have our combination of fast mana and artifacts in Lion's Eye Diamond and Lotus Petal. Pretty self-explanatory stuff. Additional fast mana in Cabal Ritual, noting that this is slightly worse in Dark Ritual. However, getting Threshold is not hard in a deck with Misty Rainforest, Polluted Delta, and Brainstorms. Dark Ritual's our other fast mana spell. And one way we like to cheat it is if we can generate 5 mana out of our hand without the use of Lion's Eye Diamond, we can Ad Nauseam. Ad Nauseam for actually what it's supposed to do, not like in the modern deck where you're supposed to flip your whole deck with an Angel's Grace because you can't lose the game. You're going to do this one enough times to where you're at 4 life, which is ideal. You reveal the top card of your library, put it in your hand, lose life equal to its converted mana cost. You may repeat the process any number of times. So you're just going to keep putting cards in your hand until you're able to have a massive hand. That's the easy way. And it's not always the surefire way. I have lost because I have ad nauseamed. The other way we do it is through the card Past in Flames. It was printed in, originally it was printed in Innistrad as a mythic, but here you see the Commander logo. Each instant and sorcery card in your grave gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. So, I'm going to flip it over here to the game side real quickly to show you what an ideal hand is. So, we have right here is these 4 cards together is what we need to generate enough spells. Let's see here. Pull out a land here just to show you what I mean here. So, barring these 2 knuckleheads and this, if this is your hand right here, first spell, second spell, Lion's Eye. Now, the combo here is in order to use the Infernal Tutor with the Lion's Eye Diamond, you're going to Infernal Tutor and you're going to hold priority. So if you're on Magic Online, you'll hold control, and if you're on Paper Magic, you'll just say I'm holding priority. So you're paying the 2. It's your 4th spell. You will then activate Lion's Eye Diamond upon holding priority. At this point, your opponent has the opportunity to respond to you, but we'll get to, when you're supposed to storm off and so. But, you'll have your mana, and then you'll be able to find any card in your library. At this point, it's whichever one you prefer. I'm always a Past in Flames type guy. If I can Past in Flames loop, that's good. With the loop I just presented, I can recast all of these spells, and I'll have casted 8 spells before Tendrils, so they'll lose 18 and I'll gain 18, or I can just play 18 Goblins. So with that loop, you just want at least 1 hand disruption spell, 1 cantrip, 1 additional mana rock, something. It's not hard to do. I mean, I just showed you. Do it on 1 land. Pretty simple stuff. Let's see here. Other things about Storm. How does the deck protect itself? There's a lot of things that answer you. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, Chalice of the Void. Turn 1 Force of Will is a thing in Legacy. Daze is important to note. We use a combination of 4 Cabal Therapies, 4 Duress, and 4 Gitaxian Probe. This is a way we know what's in our opponent's hand at all times, and we pull out relevant cards. Sometimes it may not be enough because of the existence of Eldrazi. This was always my go-to deck for Legacy, but Eldrazi has made me go because sometimes you just don't have the ability to rip a card out of their hand. You'll probe them, you'll see it, and you got to go for you got to get as many goblins out as you can because sometimes you just can't win. To note with the Empty the Warrens win up here, all you need is these 3 spells in a hand And at turn 1, that's a bare minimum of 8 goblins, not to include any other mana rocks you might have or additional cantrippage you might have hit, like a Gitaxian Probe. So if you went like turn 1 Probe, you cast your Dark Ritual, you'd be at 3 mana, you've casted 2 spells, you'll cast your Lion's Eye Diamond, you'll cast Infernal Tutor holding priority to make triple red, and then you'll find your Empty the Warrens for the 5th spell, and you'll make 10 goblins. So that's the premise of the combo, is holding priority to re-loop your Yawgmoth's Will effect. Because Yawgmoth's Will is banned, we have the next best thing in a copy of Past in Flames. Let's see here. So, like I said, the deck protects itself via Cabal Therapies, Duresses, and Gitaxian Probes. You'll note that the Gitaxian Probe and Therapy combo is a thing that does exist in the Legacy Delver lists right now. And let's see, our cantrips of choice. Brainstorm plus Fetch Lands is basically Ancestral Recall, closest thing we'll ever get to it. Probably too powerful for Legacy, but we let it live on. 4 Ponders, additional look at top 3. You may put them back in any order, you may shuffle, then you may draw a card, and then a solo Preordain. Some lists, like mine for example, barring that I see 3 here, it's supposed to be 4, but some will play just 7 protection spells out of hand rip style, and they'll add another Preordain or Sensei's Divining Top to modify their top cards of their library. Let's talk about sideboard a little bit here. The sideboard is pretty streamlined to deal with things you can't deal with. The 2 best decks in Legacy right now are still Eldrazi and Countertop. Miracles deck, I apologize. To beat that deck, Abrupt Decay. You need to blow up either Chalice of the Void, Thorn of the Amethyst, or Counterbalance, because Counterbalance with a Sensei's Divining Top shuts you off pretty hard. You're not going to be able to storm off legitimately. Chain of Vapor is a way to get around Mother of Runes, because sometimes you just got to throw a chain to start a stack of activations with Mom, so you can get around a Thalia or something like that. It's also important to use that on Grave Hate tricks. Dread of Night. Speaking of Mom, this is particularly for the Death and Taxes list, because all of its creatures that are relevant to you are 1 toughness creatures. They will be gone. Dread of Night ends this. The other card that is used sometimes, it's used more of now actually, because Maverick is a dead deck, because this card can sometimes just not be ever casted in Maverick, but it's Massacre. In Maverick, if they have a Gaddock Teague out, you can't cast Massacre, but it gives all creatures -2/-2, and it's free to play, which goes towards your storm count. If you control Swamp, they control Plains. Carpet of Flowers. This is our choice of main Delver answer. Delver likes to hit us in the mana, and Delver is one of our worst matchups. If not, it is our worst matchup. They can interact with us on our mana, which is only 15 lands, and they play Stifle to answer our Storm trigger. So we have to use Carpet of Flowers to boost them on mana. You know, they play nothing but islands, well, I got a carpet for you. So here's a bunch of mana during my main phase. The last card is Xantid Swarm. It's Silence on a Stick. Nothing beats a good old turn 1 Xantid Swarm attack, and then you just go off. You can't force me, you can't do nothing to me. A couple rules with Storm, I guess, to talk about. Let's see, Storm applies to both players, so if your opponent is, for example, casting a bunch of spells on your turn, say they cast 3 spells, that's 3 additional spells to your Storm count. So that'll help you push through additional hits. Sometimes you just cast 4 spells and they're like, oh, I'm going to stop you with this, well, I'm going to Chain of Vapor this and continue, and so on and so forth. So the more spells they stack onto your turn, the more likely you're just going to kill them with the Tendrils of Agony. So key points to remember is we'll show you a basic opening hand here. This is a pretty good hand. This is great. This hand right here is awfully close to a turn 1 Empty the Warrens for 10 dudes, but you know, we'll probe my opponent, we'll see he's got nothing, draw a card, almost there, we'll ponder, do the top 3, oh look, look at that, so we've casted 2 spells already, spell 3, spell 4, there's going to be a Dark Ritual for 3 black, Dark Ritual, which will net gain 2 additional black, cast a Lion's Eye Diamond, cast Infernal Tutor, holding priority to generate triple red, discarding the card in my hand, because that's how Lion's Eye Diamond acts. Infernal Tutor resolves, and I'm now Hellbent, so I've built my own Demonic Tutor. I will view my library, and I'll find me a Past in Flames. I'll cast Past in Flames. Cast a Dark Writ. Cast a Dark Writ. Cast an Infernal Tutor. Find Tendrils of Agony. And we'll kill my opponent on turn 1. By the way, if you all want to check me, that was randomized. I shuffled. I shuffled way back up here. That was an example of a turn 1 kill. Just remember, if you're going to go Past in Flames victory, you have to have 6 mana available upon resolution of your Infernal Tutor. So when you cast the Infernal Tutor, break Lion's Eye Diamond, you need 6 mana or more. One final thing, you're asking, oh no, I have my one of Past in Flames in hand. What do I do? So let's go ahead. We'll cheat this one here a little bit. We just drew our nut hand. So there's 2 Dark Writs. Here's your Infernal Tutor. Let's go ahead and grab Basic Swamp because it's irrelevant. Probe. And the last card in hand is a Past in Flames. So, because it's the flashback cost, actually cost 1 more, because you can see with the 4 mana left over was Xaxes. What am I supposed to do? Well, it really is quite simple, actually. Remember how I said you're supposed to have 6 mana upon resolution? I'll go through it here. Pay 2 life. My opponent's got nothing. Oh, never mind. I just drew a ritual. Well, you'll fire up your rituals. Assuming I didn't hit a ritual, you would Infernal Tutor finding a ritual, so then redo it. Cast Infernal Tutor, hold priority for triple red. And then, in this case, you can find yourself your Tendrils of Agony, because we already generated the mana out of hand. And then cast the Past in Flames. And then cast a bunch of cast 3 rituals, cast a probe, it's 4 more spells. Tendrils 24 times. So that's pretty much it. That's the Storm deck. If y'all have any other questions, you're curious about what got me into playing Storm, just let me know. Shoot me a message on Facebook through the Snapcast Facebook page. Follow us on Twitch. More followers. I believe Rob is going to try to do something at 150 followers. And this was my 12 decks of Christmas. Thank you guys for listening.